CogWork Gaming is proudly brought to you by No-Scope Gaming Glasses. Stay in the game longer. The Beverly Hillbilly here for CogWork Gaming, and welcome to another episode of Is It Good?, our in-depth video game review series. Here, we take a look at games that you may have missed or may have overlooked for some reason. We won't hold it against you, yet. Today, we're going into a genre that usually gets overlooked or it gets misrepresented, the racing sim genre. Now, when I say racing sim, a lot of people want to think about Forza or Gran Turismo or maybe Need for Speed. You can be forgiven for thinking that because that's wrong. Those are called simcades, where there's elements of simulated car racing, but there's elements of arcade-style physics to make them accessible to a wide audience, and that's why they're so successful. Racing sims are usually overlooked and don't get much of the limelight because they're simulators. Racing a vehicle is hard. People die. Anyway, enough death. Today, we're going to be looking at a small, I guess you could call it indie. I'm kind of on this, indie hype train. But anyway, coming from Kuno Studio out of Idia? Really? Let's try that again. Coming out of Italy's Kunos Studios, we have Assetto Corsa. Let's take a look and see if this simulator is the racing sim for you. Before I start this review, I want to make two notes. Number one, I am using a good old-fashioned Xbox 360 controller to prove 2 points. One, you can do a racing sim well through a third-party Xbox 360 controller, and I guess it kind of leads off to number two, you don't necessarily need those huge steering wheel and pedal setups to play a racing simulator. They're nice, I'd love to have one, I'm getting there. I am able to crank up all the visual settings to Ultra. That means this review is as pretty as it gets. So sit down, strap in, insert a couple other car-related puns, and let's get this review going. Alright, fuck it, I'm just going to read through it. A racing simulator is nothing at all without the feeling that you are as close to your dream car as possible without dropping the amount of money you could get by doing things. Certain things. On one hand, a racing game needs to be fun. Deep inside, we all play video games because they are fun. However, Assetto Corsa pins itself as your racing simulator, so it needs to feel real, with lasting challenges, where you're going to spend all day tweaking a car to get that extra half second you left on the track yesterday. Assetto Corsa is very heavy with the simulation, but it does this well enough to make it fun for the gamers looking for a hardcore racing simulator. You want to crap your pants when you're speeding over 150 miles an hour in the finest cars in the world, and it feels pretty realistic to me, sitting on my couch, staring at my TV with my Xbox 360 controller, but going 50 miles an hour up a mountain pass in an old Alfa Romeo, it feels every bit as fast and thrilling and satisfying because that dose of realism is done so well. Each little input that you make in the game, either through the controller or the tuning setup, makes a fairly huge but at the same time expected and realistic feel of change. And oh yes, tuning your car. Depending on the car, the tuning options will range from potato noob to I hope you dusted off that engineering degree that you slept through. But in the game, the tuning descriptions are clear enough to help you learn about how to set up a car to what you want to do. And if you have enough time, and if you have the patience, those hours spent in those boring tuning pages will pay off. For anyone who's looking at buying a racing simulator, they can be forgiven, for a moment, for passing up Assetto Corsa because it doesn't look quite as pretty as other racing simulators out there like iRacing or Project Cars. Yes, both those games are really, really pretty to look at. The light shading's beautiful, bright colors, oversaturation. But here in Assetto Corsa, the idea is a legitimate attempt to be real, but not over the top and obnoxious. The graphics are still amazing and super smooth, 60 frames per second all day long as your computer can handle it. And let's be honest, it's 2015, splitting hairs on graphics in PC games, it feels really, really petty. But I will say something negative about Assetto Corsa's graphics. Many environment features, including fans and trailers and random cars you see on the hillsides, they are a bit 2D. That is a bit disappointing. But when you're speeding through a track going 150 or whatever, you're not going to be paying attention to the 2D fans. You're going to be paying attention to the cars and the tracks, which are beautiful. The cars are the stars, but they're not overstated, they're not oversaturated. They look amazing in the showroom, and look just amazing in action on the track. For car enthusiasts, the sounds associated with cars going fast and everything motorsports related is every bit as important as everything else. You know, the physics, the graphics, what you see and feel, and blah 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 blah. Racing sims are no different. There are two ways to do audio in racing games. One, which is a popular option, the sounds you hear from outside of the car, or option number two, the sounds that a race car driver would hear within the car. Most racing games choose option one, which makes sense. It's what most of us hear because we're not multi-million-dollar race car drivers. You hear the crackle of the exhaust, the tires squealing, the throaty intake roar of the engine. That sounds awesome. That's what I want. We're creatures of habit. I want what I know. Give me what I know and nothing else. Assetto Corsa does something a little different here. It takes option number two. This seems kind of weird, but this is where Assetto Corsa plows its own path. Man, this review, it's like the perfect racing sim. Everything's super bueno. Damn, just ship it, 10 out of 10, would bang again. Right? There's nothing wrong. Right? So for the actual gameplay, the gameplay does generally follow the rest of the game, and you get that feel that you're right there in any given car, in any given generation, on whatever track you choose. Look, you're going to need some imagination. The single player career mode, it's as monotoned as Ben Stein. It's flat, it's uninspiring, and it's impossible for me to get engaged to. I tried. It was so boring. It was the most boring and bland anything I've seen in a racing game ever. And it was weird because, you know, Kuno Studios is in Italy. Italians. They're fucking obnoxious and loud and boisterous and all that stuff. Where's the soul? Where is the soul in Assetto Corsa here? Oy vey. But Kuno Studios is, on a good day, comprised of 10 people. So maybe I can't ask for everything. But to give them a fair shake, the career mode does do a great job at introducing each car, and it gives you a great opportunity to become familiar with each one. But if the career mode's too potato for you, just make your own quick race. This is where I have the most fun in Assetto Corsa. When I boot up the game, that's what I do. One thing that racing sims are struggling with, and they're having a really hard time with this, is the AI. Assetto Corsa so far, I think they're doing the best job, but it's doing the best job with a C. But as long as you aren't ramming the opponents, which hey, if you want to go ram opponents and beat your way to the front, pick up Need for Speed. Assetto Corsa is not for you. The rubbing, the light contact, it feels realistic enough. Like, you know, you can rub up against someone, won't end your race, but be careful with that chrome bumper, because damage does quickly affect how the car handles and performs. So, some special features. There's an online racing mode with leagues that you can get involved with through outside forums and all that stuff. Again, it's nothing special, kind of bland, but it's there and fairly problem-free. Here is an important note. I'm fairly new to PC gaming, so I wanted to make a point to bring this up. Mods. With this being a PC title, and fairly popular enough, there are mods everywhere. Extra cars, extra tracks, extra liveries for cars, and I think there's even a couple track building modes. But do your research before downloading one of these mods and putting it into the game. Some of the mods are completely broken, won't work, and may cause your game to crash. So you'll need to know how you put it into the game so you can remove it. However, some of the mods work perfectly fine, and they help expand the game because they bring in extra cars that weren't available in the game originally or through Dream Pack 1, and the same thing goes for tracks. Alrighty, so there's enough babbling. I think I have talked enough to where we can get to the verdict. Listen closely, people. I know most of you have skipped ahead to the end of this video to this point, so pay attention. Assetto Corsa is not the racing sim for everyone. It's hard. It's really hard. It's frustrating. It takes a long time to get the hang of it. And take it from me, it will induce controller throwing. No matter if you have a 360 controller, PS4 controller, a steering wheel, whatever it is, you will be extremely tempted to throw it. But for people that want that kind of challenge, this is what you want. It's so engaging. It's so rewarding when you get it right. And it does leave you coming back for more, even when it's most frustrating. I think this is the racing simulator for a lot more people than the people who are actually buying it. I do feel that this is the racing simulator that does racing sims right. And for the price, which through Steam, when it's not on sale, $50, that's $50, whatever. It's the best deal currently available for racing sims that are on this level. So if you are looking for a racing sim, or if you're one of those unfortunate fucks that bought Project Cars and feel like an idiot, you can now make up for it with Assetto Corsa. I'm the Beverly Hillbilly for CogWork Gaming, and thank you so much for watching another episode of Is It Good?, our in-depth video game review series. If you liked the video, go ahead and click that like button down below. If you have any kind of suggestions, positive or negative, wild tangents, or something you'd like to see, let us know in the comments section below. And as always, if this is your very first CogWork Gaming video, Welcome to CogWork Gaming. Click that subscription button and browse our ever-expanding video library. I'm sure we have something for you. For CogWork Gaming, I'm the Beverly Hillbilly. Thank you so much for watching and good night.